On the Western Hotline is, speaking of contract extensions, is Jason Zucker of the Buffalo Sabres, who recently signed an extension. Jason, it's Jeremy and Joe. Thanks for taking some time this morning.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me, guys.
First off, congratulations on the extension. And, it's kind of interesting. Like, you come here on a one-year deal, and Sabres fans probably know you from around the league and wonder what it's going to go like, how it's going to go. Your impressions coming in when you signed here, I guess, what was it that brought you to it, and you liked it enough to stay for a couple more years?
Yeah, I think, you go through phases of your career, of course, but I think for me, it was exciting to, I didn't know where I was going to slot it in the lineup. I didn't know any of that, but seeing the young talent that was on this team was very enticing. The top nine, everybody that they had throughout that top nine, getting Ryan McLeod, from Tomer to Tucky and all the way down. I mean, there's a ton of talent. So I knew I was going to be playing with some great players, and that was a big piece. And I think it's been a fun challenge for me, being the old guy and trying to help in that realm. But it's been a lot of fun on the ice.
Has the season gone for you personally how you would have hoped? The numbers are certainly there. I know team-wise you wouldn't say yes, but at least offensively it feels like you're putting up numbers that you would have even a few years ago.
Yeah, individual success is always nice, but it truthfully would be nowhere without my line mates and the guys that have been pushing me forward, and it's been fun to play with everybody. I mean, obviously, again, individual success is always nice, but we didn't hit the goals that we wanted as far as a team, and that's been disappointing. But I do think, I've said this a few times now, I do think that we've made strides as a team and as an organization. I think obviously there's still a long way to go, and we'll address that this offseason and try to get back after it. But I think there were definitely some strides taken for sure.
To that point, Jason, I feel like Sabres fans would acknowledge, and I think anybody would acknowledge, this organization has right now, it might feel like baggage to carry because of a drought, because of what's happened long before you got here. When you come into a room that has that, maybe sometimes with some of the players, as a fresh voice, a fresh face, you feel like, and especially as a veteran such as you are, like, do you feel like you can be someone that helps shed that for the guys that might be carrying it?
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, it's always tough, right? And we absolutely understand the fan base, the frustration, wanting to be in the playoffs. We want it more than anybody else in the city does, and it's frustrating when you go through these times, when you go through a 13-game losing streak and you just can't figure it out. But it is always nice to have a fresh voice. It's always nice to change up the room a little bit. It's a tough part of the business because you never want to lose your friends and your teammates and that. And, I heard nothing but amazing things about Okposo and Gergensons and Skinner and that kind of leadership group that they had before. But sometimes it's just the way it works. You need to try something new, and that's not a knock on those guys. It's just the way the room works. That's why coaches get fired. That's why players get traded. Things obviously aren't working, but ultimately there's only one team happy at the end of the year, and everyone else is trying to fix their team and grow and get better and be ready for the following year.
So you spoke on like kind of the young talent that kind of drew you here. So you've obviously seen enough from that to stick around for 2 more years. What would you say then is the thing that the group together needs to do to kind of realize that potential then from the talent, and you see some of what the highlights of what the team can do, 8-2 out of the Four Nations break against the Rangers, to then put that together for a full season?
Yeah, I mean, those games are pretty unrealistic to think that you're going to pull off more than, you get one of those a year, maybe 2, where you're going to put up 8 on somebody. Every team is so good now. It's nearly impossible to do that on a normal basis. But regardless, for me, I think it's learning how to win, and learning how to win is just all the little things of knowing when you can go try a play, through the middle, knowing who you're on the ice against, if that's a smart idea or not. The turnovers, the little plays that give the other team a little bit of life. I think we've done that too much this year. When you look at the 4-0 game versus Colorado, actually both games against Colorado, you look at some of the games that we've blown leads was, a lot of it was handing the other team chances and giving them a little bit of life and making it tougher on ourselves. So I think we're that's one of the biggest learning curves for us is just learning how to win in those aspects of the game. It's not, it's not the skill anymore. We had the skill. We know how to use it. It's just a matter of learning all the rest of the aspects of the game to help us win games.
On a micro level, do you feel like that? How'd that go last night? Your first night back in the lineup, and they just put you right out there against the McDavid line a lot.
Yeah, I mean, that's always fun, just chasing him around the ice. Chasing a 9-7 around, but he's obviously a special talent. It's impossible to stop him. You're just going to try to maintain him as much as you can, and try to push him to the outside. I thought we did a pretty good job of that. He's going to get his chances. Draisaitl's going to get his chances, especially on that power play. It's lethal, but I thought our penalty kill was incredible. I thought Upi was our best player all night. And then obviously Tomer and Norris had a great night between the two of them, and it was nice to get those goals and get that win. So for us, it was a good step, and we're going to try to use this last 20 games to kind of build and feel good going into summer, and then we're going to regroup and get back after it.
That game also, McLeod, who's been, I looked up by a slight margin, your most common line mate on the season. What makes him so good defensively? Because I think some have been pleasantly surprised by his offensive game this year, but when he was brought here, it was a lot about his defensive ability, and there are not many that can skate with McDavid in the league, but it felt like there were a lot of shifts last night where he could keep with him the whole way.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's nice that. So first of all, Clouder is an unbelievable player. He's so fast. His skating is unlike anyone else that I've seen. He just flies. He just floats around on the ice. It's pretty incredible to watch. So I think that's a huge attribute for him. I think he's a smart player, and I think he's got the skill set to be able to play that offensive game too. But as far as the defense goes, it's really tough to get offense to get someone that skates that well. That's why. You look at some of our D-core, it's with how well they skate. They're able to play a little bit more offense and play the game a little bit differently because they can get back so well. But as far as Clouder, I think on last night it was impressive watching him. I'm sure that there's a certain aspect of playing with McDavid the last few years. He knows some of his tendencies and things of that sort. But he did a heck of a job, and Tucky and I were just trying to make sure we did our part on that line and shut him down as best we could.
Jason Zucker with us on the Western Hotline. One of the deficiencies that has kind of sink the team at times this year has been the power play, Jason. And you've got 9 goals on the power play this year, but for the whole group overall, what do you think the right answer or angle is to improving that? And I wonder even just what Josh Norris maybe could do for that, because he scored a lot of power play goals in Ottawa. And I don't know, this could change, but in a very generic sense, it feels like having him on a one-timer opposite of Tage could only help.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not going to hurt. I think for us, and a lot of teams really that struggle in the power play, power plays typically for your best players you feel like are time to make plays. When realistically, I think a lot of the best power plays have a simplicity factor to them. I think when you look at the Tampa Bays of the world, when you look at Colorado, they're shooting a lot of pucks. They're moving to get somebody open to shoot a puck. It's not trying to make seam passes, every single play, every time you touch the puck. It doesn't need to look fancy and ends up on SportsCenter. You have an extra guy. You need to just create little 2-on-1s, pull guys out of their positions on the PK, and try to attack. It makes it really tough when we're shooting pucks. And I think early in the year, we had a ton of success just shooting pucks, getting rebounds and making plays from there. Because once the penalty kill gets broken down, you have a heck of a lot better of a chance of scoring. And I think we found success in and out, up and down throughout the year, but it hasn't been consistent enough, and it's something that we definitely need to address. But my personal opinion is it's a lot about just keeping it simple and getting pucks to the net, using that extra advantage, and just crash the net and get some of the dirty holes around the crease.
Jason Zucker on the Western Hotline. He just signed a 2-year extension with the Sabres after this year. It's gone pretty well for him. Jason, I was looking at just your rundown of where you've been. A lot of time in Pittsburgh, and then a couple of years on the move. Was that part of what was important for you to stay put, to finally, relax, stop moving a little bit, because you had a little bit of a tumultuous year or two?
Yeah, that's just kind of the way it goes. It's a little bit frustrating when you're bouncing around, but ultimately, it wasn't a great fit for me in Arizona, and they wanted to move on, and and then going to Nashville is, it was nice to get back in the playoffs there and have a chance to just play some playoff hockey, but it was definitely a factor for me. But I think it was probably one of the smaller factors, to be honest. For me, I'm not going to make a decision just because I don't want to bounce around. I'm going to make one based on, almost, more of the facts of the situation. I think for me, I think it's been a good fit on the ice and off the ice. The guys in the room have been great and welcomed me and been great teammates and friends for me. I think the coaching staff is doing a great job. So I think when you look at the entire aspect of the organization, it's something that I felt that I wanted to be a part of for the next few years.
How much comfort of that is the comfort with the organization, and two, then also the area, even first time living here?
Yeah, for sure. It's honest. It's treated me very well. I've been fortunate. Everyone here in Buffalo has welcomed me and been extremely friendly, extremely helpful. You can just see how hungry this fan base is for a playoff team. So, it's exciting to have that. And, I don't blame them one bit for being frustrated with the season we're having, but also the last few years and that aspect. So we're gonna do everything we can to get back to the playoffs and make this fan base proud to come watch us play.
And finally, Jason, before we let you go, every time we have a hockey guest on, I want to ask: are you taking in what Ovechkin is doing? Are you tracking it night to night? We asked Lindy about him. In your experience playing against him, just like what is happening, and this record that it would seem inevitably is going to fall as he becomes the all-time goal scorer in the league.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible to watch. For me, early in my career, obviously him and Sid were on another level, and it was fun watching them and playing against them. Or not fun to play against them, but it was a good experience to play against them, I'll say. I think every game in Minnesota, Ovechkin had a hat trick. It was in all three of them were from his spot. It was just inevitable. We used to give Devin Dubnyk a ton of shit for it, because it was just like he. Literally every game was just 3 one-timers bar down. There was nothing he could do about it, and he's just that good. So I have been following it. It's been really fun to see, and I think for all of us, we're lucky to say that we've played against him and in the same league as him, and at the time when he's breaking a record is pretty special. So it's definitely been a fun experience to see it. Not when he's scoring against you every night, but it's a special thing for sure.
Well, Jason, thanks again for the time. Congratulations on the extension, and best of luck going forward.
I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me.
Jason Zucker of the Buffalo Sabres. 2-year extension for him just signed, so he's with the team for 2 more seasons. Jeremy and Joe here on WGR.